Welcome to another episode of Tea with Z. My name is Zamil Salaki, and it's an absolute pleasure to be joining each and every one of you again on another episode this morning. And you know the deal. If you are watching live, give me a like, give me a heart. Even if you're watching a replay, definitely do the same. And be sure to drop a comment in the comment section below from, I guess, wherever you are in the world. Simply saying hi or good morning or good afternoon, whatever time zone it might be. But even better would be your takeaways and I guess what you can learn and implement from these episodes in your daily lives. Because at the end of the day, this content is about driving a conversation, asking you some unique questions and giving you some different perspectives on things to take away and to help you start to ask better questions in your own world along your own healthpreneurial journey. So, a special welcome to each and every one of you, and a even greater special to those that are joining me from the Limitless Network. As you know, the Limitless Network is a group of like minded people who value health in any way, shape, or form from all over the world. So, literally, there are people from all over the world in the Limitless Network, and it is absolutely awesome to have you here as well. Details to join are in the description box below. But let's kick into today's episode. Yesterday, I was working in a pharmacy and working away, and a lovely lady, we were preparing her medication at the time, and or for loved ones, I should say. And we're preparing her order, and essentially, she was conversing with us, and all of a sudden, she loses consciousness, drops, falls down face first, didn't hit anything, thank God, but essentially then started to seize. And as a result of that, entering into a state of seizure, we responded, and another gentleman responded in the pharmacy as well to assist her and to ensure her safety. An ambulance was called because she had no history of this sort of medical conditions as well. We were able to check her medical history, being a patient of ours. And it was a very unique situation in a pharmacy for somebody that I guess hasn't gone through something like that before as a patient, but also as some of the team members as well. But in the healthcare setting and as along your own healthpreneurial journey, you probably become a little bit more acutely aware that medical emergencies do happen in our workplaces. And as a result of this, we were fortunate enough to be able to call and get assistance from the medical center as well. But yeah, essentially, we needed an ambulance to assist as well, just to obviously ensure that, the patient was safe. And because the patient had lost consciousness, we wanted to ensure that, she got the medical attention that she needed. Now, one thing that I guess the biggest takeaway from this was, I guess two sides of the coin. One, a gentleman, another just a passerby, somebody else in the pharmacy at the time, really stepped up and actually, was first literally because he was right next to the person, started to, offer medical assistance, ensuring that, her airway was, and obviously under supervision, ensuring that, she was safe in terms of why she was convulsing. Her head wasn't in any danger. She was, I guess, her airways weren't compromised. She was still breathing. And as a result of that, we enlisted the help of our team as well to help, I guess, ensure the privacy was there. We temporarily closed the doors of the pharmacy and limited access to the pharmacy, but also then help to educate other people around as to, what's going on. Because as we've covered off before, with confusion comes fear, comes anxiety, comes worry in others around us. And we were able just to obviously at a very high level educate and inform other patients as to, okay, you know what, there's a medical emergency at the moment, just bear with us. But one thing was very unique. There was another patient within the pharmacy there, and he was at the time making a purchase, and he essentially was just about to pay for this purchase, and then everything happened at that point in time. And he kind of stood back, didn't really get involved, and was just waiting it out, but just standing there kind of watching. And I hadn't been involved with this patient at all at this point in time, but it was interesting to note his different response to the situation compared to the other patient that was in the pharmacy. The other patient got down, assisted straight away, essentially put his hand up and said, "How can I help?" Whereas this other patient kind of stood back and was like, "You know what? I don't want to be involved." And he actually then started to get quite frustrated with the events turning out the way he did, and him simply saying, "You know what? I'm going to bugger off to another place. All I want to do is pay." And essentially going, "Well, wait a minute," and giving off the vibes of going, "Well, you know what? I see that you've got a medical emergency there, but you know what? I don't want to be a part of it," and move on. But the way in which he sort of presented that situation and the way in which we took it initially was, "Are you trying to prioritize yourself over a medical emergency right now?" And that was, I guess, the feeling that we got from him. And I then redeployed a free team member just to quickly finish and obviously provide him the service that he needed to look after his own healthcare needs as well, because we definitely appreciate that. While he wasn't in an emergency, he was there to obviously obtain some healthcare advice and get his healthcare needs met. So we quickly just finished that up and sent him on his way. But on reflection, our initial thoughts to that was, "Sheesh, that was a bit abrupt." He's probably only a few minutes had passed for him to be waiting, but he was getting agitated, and as a result of that, agitating the scene, and our ability to prioritize looking after this other person. And so we want to quickly deal with that as quickly as possible, and release that situation out, and obviously not focus on that. But it was just really interesting to see the two different sides of the coin. And on reflection, we were like, our initial thoughts were like, "Geez, that guy was a bit blunt. He was a bit, abrasive in his approach. He didn't really understand what was happening." But then on reflection now, I've got to ask, and we've gone through, the questions are your answers. Well, firstly, one, why did he respond in the way he did? And it really, on reflection, and when you deep down and peel the layers of the onion, there might be some unknown to us, some level of resistance or anxiety or fear or worry that comes about with seeing a situation like that. I don't know that person at all. And as a result of that, I don't have a personal connection with him. I don't know his personal history and whether or not he's got maybe even an underlying trauma. And seeing that makes him very, very uncomfortable. I don't know, but to judge off the bat as to how somebody responds to something in a heightened state or an emergency state, it's really important to take the time to stand back and then reflect and debrief on that and go, "Well, wait a minute, maybe it wasn't just what we saw from the outside. Maybe there was something else going on." And as a result of that, not be too quick to judge. Not be too quick to judge. And I can, hand on heart say, I was probably a little bit too quick to judge that, straight after. But then on reflection, it was important for me to, I guess, reflect and go, "Wait a minute, there could have been other things happening that we just weren't aware of." And as a result of that, how could have I have handled things a little bit differently as a team leader in that organization at that point in time? How could have I ensured that that patient was leaving, I guess, without, I guess, a psychological trauma or something that he may have witnessed that we didn't really address at that time? And as a result of that, what were the opportunities then to ensure that we could obviously prioritize his own health and well-being after the fact as well? Maybe I could have got his contact details and said, "Hey, do you mind if I check in on you after all this is done?" That would have been a quick thing then and there, because obviously, as we know, he wanted to leave. But how could we have done things a little bit differently? And it's really important then to take stock of this and then to review and refine our processes for next time. And working with this team, I'm going to be working with them again today, is I'm going to be taking this opportunity then to review and reflect and debrief with this team, I guess, why things could have happened the way they did, but also what we could potentially do a little bit differently moving forward. So my question to you today is, in an emergency or in a heightened stressful situation, how do you think you respond, and how will you actually respond? But then take one step back and go, how do you think others are going to respond around you? Despite any elements of training, you could be the most trained professional in the world, but still freeze in the moment or still have an unintended experience in the moment. So, my question to you is not only just for yourself, but for those around you, and not just for your team, not just for your friends, but for bystanders, for other patients within within your health space, other customers, consumers along your own healthpreneur journey or in your business. How would they respond, and how can you then address their response in a really neutral way, without negativity or positivity, but just in a really neutral way, to ensure that whatever's happened and how they've responded to that emergency can be dealt with from a level that doesn't have any real bias towards it, but also allows you to keep openness, and really explore, I guess, why some people react in the way that they do, and ensure that the way in which they react is obviously catered to, but also explored a little bit more, so that they themselves can feel safe, not judged. So that's my question for you today: is how would you respond to an emergency? What would you do? And how would you ensure, or how would you, I guess, how would you ensure others around you can respond to an emergency in a safe way? But if they don't, why is that? What are the reasons behind that? What are their levels of comfort? And what can you do better to support them? Because responding to an emergency is a fact of life. It's a fact of life. We're all going to go through it at some point in time. So, how can we best prepare ourselves through our life experiences to ensure that we can respond to it in a way in which is comfortable for us, and a definition of safe for us as well? So, just some food for thought today. Some food for thought today. And I'm really keen to hear your comments in the comment section below. Even if you've gone through it before, share your story. Tell us your story and share it. And if you don't want to just share it publicly, the Limitless Network, as you know, and the details are in the description box below, is a safe place to do this. So I definitely welcome you to join in the Limitless Network, and share your experiences, because by sharing your experiences and the lessons learned from the experience, so not just the experience itself, but the lessons learned from the experience, is going to help empower others to take lessons as well, and their own lessons from your story, and build upon them. And that's what we're all about here. So that's it from me today. Wherever you are in the world, stay safe, stay well, because even with or without COVID, and this was completely unrelated to COVID as far as I'm aware, there's still other medical emergencies happening. So I wish you all good health, and and like I said, from my heart to yours, I hope you're all keeping safe and well. So that's it from me today. Have an absolutely incredible day, and I look forward to catching up with you again on another episode of Tea with Z tomorrow. Bye for now.